How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Blue Shifting. Welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 6. This music is so out of place. Rena has already been the most successful Watanagashi practitioner in Higurashi as far as we are aware of. She's just killed 2 people. She's sleepy because she was up all night, basically. We still don't know the situation back home or anything. We're probably going to learn that today, but yeah, it was how, whew. Also, I could greatly appreciate last episode because it was kind of where things kicked off. We had a lot of fantastic comments. I did not answer all of them yet. I'm hoping to kind of get through them. It's just, real life has been very busy lately, and that's always a factor in these types of things. But I appreciate all the comments. I did read both. I think I read all of them, and I'm trying to go through them, but time is what time is, and I'm just doing the best. It doesn't help that I also had a really impactful few other episodes of the other series we're doing this week, so it's been really great, but it's been a little, it's been so much good, conversation going on. It's just been tough to keep up with, so I apologize for that if I didn't get back to your comments as of yet, but naturally, it's been pretty spicy. It's been real good. So we're gonna see how the rest of this plays out, but basically the kind of consensus, not only in myself but also with the community and those of you chatting, is kind of this not only does Rena kind of step into everything fairly well, but once she killed one person, she's just flowed right into the next. And the problem is that she tends to be very the Sith deal in absolutes. That's kind of her deal. It's people are either good or bad people, and as soon as they're bad people, she puts them in that category. They probably aren't likely to live because she's so extreme when it comes to this stuff. And now that she's kind of been pushed over that edge, I also want to point out, I think I kind of mentioned it, but I want to emphasize again. I think the way I'm going to perceive this so far is that Rena is, I've talked about it in the first episode, the first chapter. I talked about how Rena seemed to have a mask on, and that there was another completely almost alien side to her underneath the mask. And I think that we're seeing that in a really clear way here, because the mask isn't just a mask that she shows everyone else, it's one that she shows herself. And I think a great example of that was how Rika, when she showed up at the garbage pit and Rena kind of ran from her. She ran to her hideout, and I remember mentioning how why'd she go to her hideout knowing that she could bring her there? And then she talked about how nobody could hear them, nobody knows. And then I mentioned there, I was I think that was on purpose, and I think that's true. I just think that it's the Rena underneath the mask that kind of maybe not planned that it was going to happen that way, but someone eloquently said it in a comment saying that it wasn't a plan, but it was always a possibility, and that possibility was kind of in the back of her mind, and it kind of just worked on it. So why did she run to her secret hiding place when she knew that Rika was probably going to follow her? Because she knew it would open an opportunity she might need to utilize, and she did. So that's just basically it. I think that there is a part of Rena that is just a cold, calculating, arithmetic dealer. Just a psychopath in the sense that she just sees the cold, hard truth as she views it, and that the life of another individual doesn't hold any special weight. Now, I think there's a part of her that obviously appreciates the severity of killing somebody, but it's not in the this is because it's bad. It's the arithmetic of I could get in trouble and cause problems for people in my life if I get caught. That's a psychopath right there. So yeah, sorry, but I think true Rena is at least a sociopath, if not a psychopath. And that's the thing, is that we always think of the word psychopath and think of just psychotic people, killers. We even say psychotic is somebody who just runs around just murdering people. It's no. It's simply a different frame of reference for a human being to compartmentalize and to dehumanize other people. It can be a very useful skill in survival situations and in war, but it's not a good thing for most people, especially in a peaceful society. It's a terrible thing. It can lead people to do terrible things to others. So, well, that's enough psychobabble. Let's jump into it. I wouldn't be surprised if I had another incident where I ended basically at right at the end of a chapter, but it feels like we're going to do post activities maybe Rena's gonna bow out because she's tired. But I was assuming that we're gonna go home and have an interaction with her dad and kind of like start seeing the after effects of her choices. And so we'll see. But let's see what happens. So let's jump in and get started. So what are we doing for club activities?
それに最近罰ゲームがちょいと刺激不足だぜ。
言うね、ケイちゃん。そこまで言うなら、今日の放課後には生き地獄ってやつを拝ましてあげるよ。
Careful what you wish for, buddy.
ケイチくん、あんまりみーちゃんを挑発しちゃダメだよ。
おいおい、臆すのかよ、レナ。上等じゃないかよ。また俺たちの実力で大暴れしてやろうぜ。俺とレナの決着だってまだまだついちゃいないんだからな。
I grinned at her and she grinned back.
それもそうだね。よーし、レナも思いっきり頑張るぞ。レナさんには先日の借りがございますものね。
God, so creepy how normal she seems, right? Everyone else we saw who did these terrible things. I guess there's an exception. Rika. Rika technically tried to take out Shion in the last chapter, but if she had survived, I imagine she would have behaved very normally too. I think there's something in that those two seem to be capable of doing or attempting terrible things and having very little effect on their psyche.
きっちり倍返しさせていただきましてですわよ。
いいね、いいね。盛り上がってきたよ。
早く放課後になるといいのです。
I couldn't wait either, but that time we spent just talking together is also very precious.
そうだな。早く放課後になるといいな。
Yeah, like it was like at the end of the chapter. Gosh darn it. My sucky life. It is what it is. Yep, my favorite wine. So we'll do this tip and we'll jump into the next part. Collateral. Collateral is a word. All right. So apologies for not including this last time, but you're going into these blind. I don't know the perfect times sometimes. My favorite wine. Satoko went to join the children playing in the schoolyard. Since I didn't feel like going, I decided to stay at home. Most likely, she wouldn't be back until the evening. When Satoko wasn't around, I had ways of spending time without her. Besides, that was one I wanted to do anyway. I stuck my hand deep inside a pile of winter futons in the closet and pulled one out. Next, I filled a stylish-looking glass with it. This is Rika. Rika has a favorite wine. The ice made the freezer smell of chlorine, though, and it didn't taste good. The store-bought ice would be the best, but since Satoko kept asking me what it was using it for, I stopped buying it. But it might be worth spending time to think about a good excuse for it if it meant I would be able to enjoy ice without ever again smelling the chlorine. I filled the glass with mineral water, then poured a little bit of another liquid into the glass. Watching the color mix into a transparent water was a very pleasant thing. This wasn't the right way to drink it, but I liked it that way and didn't want to hear any complaints. My body was very convenient because I can get drunk with only a tiny amount. That's why I dilute that small amount with a full glass of water. And thanks to that, I could enjoy a single bottle for a long time. It wasn't bad if you thought about it like that. I put a cushion on my favorite spot by the window, and with the glass in one hand, I enjoyed the familiar view of the soft wind brushing through my hair. A slightly sweet ripened aroma tickled my nose. And just when I was about to start enjoying the atmosphere, the annoying one came back. She didn't like the bad habit of mine, and she complained every time I tilted the glass. She started nagging me noisily.
うるさいな。
Who?
少しくらい我慢なさい。何を飲もうと食おうと、私の勝手でしょ。
So this is creepy, Rika.
ダメなのです。その飲み物はあなたにはまだ早いのです。
Who is that? Is that normal, Rika? Or what? I tried to ignore her, but she started making a fuss and as if trying to ruin the atmosphere on purpose. There was no way I could enjoy getting drunk like this. I glared at her and threw the drink out the window.
なんで私が憂鬱か知りたい？私の死に方が決まったからよ。
Aww. It seemed like she finally understood why I wanted to drown myself in alcohol.
そんなに落ち込まなくてもいいのよ。
割と一瞬で死ねるから、そんなに怖くないわ。
My body will be burned and cut to pieces. And I'll be able to die instantly.
でも、また、ダメなのです。
Yeah, okay. I'm probably going crazy, but I feel like this is also Rika.
そうね。またダメね。これだと。私の命日はいつだっけ？
6月の25日の夜だと思いましたです。
綿流しの祭りが終わってから、だいたい1週間後か。
やっぱり、僕のせいなのでしょうか？
No, that's not Rika. Who is this? What is this?
決まってるでしょ。あんた自覚ないの？
はう、はう。
She was the only one who asked me, yet she cried when I told her she was right. Ah, geez, she's always so annoying.
頑張りましょう。次のすごろくではきっと、6が立て続けに出てくれることもあるわよ。
Okay, hang on. So up here, Sadako went to join the children playing in the schoolyard. Since I didn't feel like going, I decided to stay at home. Okay, and then comes here. The annoying one came back. I don't know if that's Satoko or not. Like, I feel like I'm missing something here that I really should be seeing. I still had 10 more days. I was going to relax and enjoy these 10 days. I still had some wine left too. Who is that child? Oyashiro? Who is it? I was gonna... Oh, I'm sure I should know who that is. Oh, the real mysteries, like, tantalizingly close. It's been very hot for the past few days, and the corpses went rotten quickly. I mean, I was thinking that this was gonna happen, but yeah, it's gonna be a big issue, I think. And a housewife knows how fast fresh meat can go bad. See, this is what a psychopath thinks, right? The dehumanization. She's looking at them and equating these dead people, granted, awful people, but dead people, to just meat. I know too. That's why the first thing I did was dismember the corpses. Fetch me. There's one reason why I needed to dismember them. I had to reduce them to the portable size in order to carry them to a place where they'll never be found. When the men say the words dismembered corpses, they'll probably feel disgusted because they don't cook. The housewives are used to taking the guts out of fish, and they sometimes even see live maggots. Okay, she's right and wrong and right. She's right that when you are processing meat, if you're going from a fresh source, it is kind of gross and you get kind of used to it. Growing up, I've done that my fair share of this too. Not as much as other people, but enough. Secondly, she's wrong because there are plenty of people who never get used to it. You tolerate it, you deal with it. But it's not like everyone just gets used to it. But then she's also right that we're not that different from these other creatures, okay? We like to think we are, but we're really not. They take the maggots off of the food or even cook it with the maggots still on. The heat will kill them after all. Women don't tell men what they do in the kitchen because men wouldn't eat the food if they knew. So it didn't really bother me much to dismember them. I was released from all my problems by killing them. Cleaning up the mess was like nothing to me because I got freedom and regained my happiness. I dismembered the corpses using carpenter's tools like a saw and a hatchet. I'm wearing a black sweatsuit I bought for today because I thought I might get stained with blood. Bloodstains don't show on black fabric. I could just throw it away after it's done. I brought the plastic sheet I found at the dump because I thought the blood might spread otherwise. She's going to say it didn't, though, because they probably are rigored and it's coagulated, so they actually wouldn't bleed a whole lot. The trouble is going to be the gas buildup and the sleuthing of the rotten flesh. If I did the work on the sheet, this would burn away after I could just burn it after I was done. In the end, dismembering human bodies is no different from preparing food on a chopping board. That's such a disturbing but probably accurate thought. The crazy thing is that somebody could find her here. I was very tired from chopping apart 2 adult bodies, but I didn't have a problem doing it. I cut off their arms, legs, and heads, dividing each into 6 pieces. I heard before the blades get easily ruined by fat when you cut apart a corpse, so I brought many kinds of tools. It's great that she's so well versed in this. And I was right, didn't have to go back and forth between here and my house to get another tool in the middle of my work. A long time ago, the construction manager was murdered and his body was dismembered here during the dam conflict. He was cut into 6 pieces the same way. Well, I had 2 bodies, so there was double that, though. I remembered the main suspect was still on the loose, and the victim's arm he had hid hadn't been found yet. I wonder where he hid it. I'd like to ask him, I smile wryly. Unlike the arms, legs, and head, the torsos were difficult to take care of. I thought about cutting them into smaller pieces, but decided against it because I thought it'd be troublesome to clean up the guts. Yes, that was a good call, unfortunately. I put each in a black trash bag and sprayed on a lot of deodorant. I wasn't sure if that would help against the smell, though. No, deodorant is not powerful enough for that. Many bugs flew around me while I was dismembering the corpses. After I finished putting all the pieces into each bag, the bugs were still flying around, but that was just because they could smell the blood. After I cleaned up everything, they were all gone. Now all I need to do is get rid of these 12 black bags. Burning them would be easiest, but I don't think I can burn them with the ashes without using a cremator. The best way to bury it is to bury them somewhere. Other than the torsos, every piece is small enough to fit in my backpack. I could easily carry them around without being noticed. I could throw them in the river running through the dam construction site, but if I did that, somebody would find them for sure. I've seen on the news several times before that a bag with a body part was found by the river. Every time I heard something like that, I always thought the murderer was stupid. I thought about dumping them in the Onagafuchi swamp, but rotten meat floats. I thought about weighing the bags, but there's no guarantee they'd stay down. So that left me with one choice, to bury them. There are many unexplored mountains at the end of the abandoned districts around Gauchi and Takatsudo. It's probably best to bury them somewhere in the mountains. While it would be safe to bury them here in the garbage dump too, it's not perfectly safe. And so I'm going to bury all the bags somewhere deep inside the mountain, in order to completely erase the 2 of them. My joints hurt since I've been using muscles I don't normally use. I cleaned up the mess very carefully, got into my hideout while still wearing the sweatsuit, and laid down on the mattress. I washed my hands carefully, but there's still dirt and blood under my nails. I should take a shower later and wash it off completely. When I say things like disposing of corpses, it sounds like I'm the greatest evil of the century. But that's only true if I get caught. Now, see, that's a psychotic method of thinking. She's basically justifying that, like, the crime isn't what she did. It's that everyone will hate her for it. That's the part that she doesn't want to do. That's how a psychopath thinks, because they don't see the human element of it per se. They see how it affects their lives. What I did isn't a crime as long as I don't get caught. Plus, I didn't do this because I wanted to commit a crime. I didn't do anything wrong. Luring people and attacking them is definitely a crime. The first one could possibly count, but it'd be tough to prove it because there was very little like besides like the bruising that was probably around her neck, which would have faded fairly quickly. There's gonna be much indication that like Rika attacked Rena first, and then as far as gosh, what's his name? I can't even remember anymore. Jerkface. That was definitely a murder. I did this to protect my father's life and mine. People might speak ill of me, but I don't care about them. In the end, I don't think anybody can really pass judgment on my sins. Sins aren't something to pass judgment on, they're something to confess and to atone for. In other words, nobody can measure the weight of a sin of another person who committed the crime. Do I regret what I did? Do I feel sorry? No. I don't think I did anything wrong. I truly believe there was no better way than killing them. I'm sure it was the right thing because my life has already started to change since the night I killed them. A few days earlier, I just came home after killing Teppei. That's his name. My father was cleaning the room Teppei had thrashed earlier. His eyes were swollen and he'd been crying.
Rena, どこへ行ってたんだ?
あの男と話をしてきた。もうリナさんは二度とこの家に来ない。だからあなたも来ないでって言った。だから、あいつはもう来ないよ。
そんなのでおとなしくしてくれるやつじゃないぞ、きっと。レイナもしばらくは用心した方がいい。
It's hard to explain to him why Teppei would never come back. I can't tell him he shouldn't worry because I killed him. I grabbed ice cubes from the freezer and put them in a plastic bag and handed it to my father.
お父さん。はい。ほっぺた、すごい腫れてるよ。
He must have only just noticed then.
ああ、ありがとう。
私が片付けるからいいよ。掃除機持ってくるね。
レイナ。
He called out to me.
お父さんが悪かった。ごめんな。
仕方ないよ。あいつらは騙すのがなりわいだもん。だから、お父さんは騙されただけだよ。
レイナは、あいつらがそういう連中だって知ってたのか？
She's gonna be like, yeah, I figured it out, but you wouldn't listen to me when I tried to tell you.
うん。最近だけどね、言っても信じてくれないと思って言わなかった。ごめんね。
He looked down. When he told me about how he wanted to get remarried, I told him they were bad people and they just scammed others with Badger games. But he didn't listen to me. So I was right in saying he wouldn't have believed me at all.
お父さんは母さんとの離婚で落ち込んでいるところをつけ入られたんだよ。
Yep.
お父さんは本当にダメなお父さんだよな。
That's the thing. I don't think he is. Like, he thinks he is, and I get that. But he's not. Like, lonely people can be taken advantage of. It's a very lucrative scamming market. Unfortunately, it's too lucrative. It's too easy to fall into, and it's too easy to be successful. And because it's embarrassing, a lot of people who fall for it never report it. So a lot more of it happens than we probably think. Then he started talking about how he met Rena, as if trying to absolve his guilt. It was when he was suffering the most. He needed to drink away his sorrows. At the bar I happened to go to, Rena-san was the one who came to sit at his table. It was her job to go be a good listener when her customers talked. Rena must have really been a great listener and offered words of comfort to him when he talked about the divorce. If he was emotionally stable, he could have taken it as kindness that she was only offering at the time. But he also was so desperate he took it the wrong way. After that, the tragedy was inevitable. He wanted to believe that it was destiny. He glamorized everything about her. God, that's what infatuation does. It would be easy to laugh at him, say that he was just dreaming. But I don't blame him, because being weak is also part of being human. He had plenty of opportunities to grow suspicious of her questionable spending habits. But my father just read everything that behaved as an attempt to cheer him up. He bought everything she asked him to, and Rena had landed her catch. He shouldn't have brought his lover to the house where his daughter lived. But he was crazy about her. He didn't even think about it.
お父さんはお父さんであることを忘れちゃってたんだ。本当にどうかしてた。
I mean, you weren't, but you were also desperately lonely. And unfortunately, that's just how humans are. He started crying. I held his shoulders gently.
いいよ。お父さんがそれに気づいてくれたなら、お父さんはお父さんなんだよ。
Aww.
私には一人しかいない。最後の肉親なんだから。
I clicked early, sorry. He couldn't stop moaning. We held each other and cried together. The next day, my father got up early in the morning. He was already cooking breakfast when I got up. And he told me,
お父さんは今日からしっかりするからな。
I mean, I hope so.
でもお父さん、目玉焼きを焼く前にサラダオイルは敷いた方がいいと思うかな。
Oh, yeah. Sunny side up, you really got to grease the pan or else it's going to just become smashed and sticking to the pan.
久しぶりの台所なんで。
So I keep adjusting the microphone. I feel like it's just not like right for some reason. I need to really like play with it later. It's like even there, like it doesn't feel like it's doing it right. I'm gonna have to redo it. He brought off the burning eggs to the pan with a spatula and he added salad oil to it. It was too late. Doing that just made it an even bigger mess. But I didn't say anything because I wanted to eat his eggs. I waited at the table quietly. He put the burned eggs on the plate and brought them over to me. He looked like he tried to salvage them by adding cheese, but it didn't really work. Still, it smelled good and crispy. It actually stimulated my appetite. The cut toast popped out of the toaster. I made coffee with extra milk and sugar because my father liked it sweet. We put everything on the table. It looked terrible, but the cooking class of an elementary school. But to me, it was precious because my father tried very hard to make it, wearing the apron.
匂いだけなら美味しそうだよ。
She's so sweet.
あとは味だね。
やっぱり食事はレーナがやった方がいいかもな。これじゃかえって悪い気がする。
お父さんが仕事で忙しくなったら、また私が代わるよ。
They bet. It had been a taboo to talk about work in our house. He hadn't worked since the divorce. It wasn't only because of the divorce, though. He just didn't have to work because the settlement my mother gave him was so huge. Plus, I let him be lazy because I felt guilty about the divorce. But my father cleared his wrongdoings by showing repentance to me. And I also atoned for my sin by not doing anything about my mother by doing what I did a previous night. Now we're free of sin. Boy, that's just not how that works.
お父さん、仕事を探してみるよ。今日は職案に行ってこようと思う。
それはいいね。
It's not money he wanted. He just needed a normal lifestyle. Brother, I feel that. When I got really sick, I basically became like pseudo bedridden. It wasn't so bad like I was a paraplegic, but I was basically incapable of being on my feet for longer than like an hour without getting really tired. And if I went walking more than like half a mile, I would become so exhausted, I would just collapse and pass out at home. I've talked about it before, but it was whatever long COVID is. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like what it is that COVID as a disease would trigger other latent things. And for me, it triggered something that looked a lot more like chronic fatigue, where, I think I've talked about this before. It's just been a while. But when you get sick, like with a fever, you also get fatigued. You feel very heavy and you want to sleep all the time, and it's hard for you to you don't have the energy to do things like climb a flight of stairs. You normally could just do it without even thinking. It was like that feeling never left when I got better. So all the symptoms of the sickness went away, but that fatigue never did. And for 2 years, that was my life. The channel was one of the few things in my life that wasn't disrupted because recording an hour-long video was about as much as I could handle before I needed to take a serious break, and then I could intermittently come and do editing. But I couldn't do work. I had to quit school. I was basically like a non-existent potato. I barely existed at home and couldn't even see my friends and loved ones, hardly at all. I just kind of became a ghost. It was awful. And I was in a brain fog the whole time where it would be hard for me to articulate my thoughts. And I can look back and it's kind of subtle because I was pretty good at covering it up. But even during that time when I was recording videos, I would struggle to remember things more so than usual. There would be words I would try to say that were fairly common words, but wouldn't come up to my mind. I would kind of struggle with them. And I would lose track of things that were fairly straightforward and basic in stories. I tried so hard not to, but it happened. It was crap, and I was really scared it was gonna be permanent because there were a few of us in the area who were part of I became part of all these research studies and things because for those of us who had these extreme reactions post-COVID, everyone was trying to figure out what was going on, see if there's any treatments that would work. And so I was on all these experimental things, and I was filling out surveys and getting blood work done every month. They were just trying to see what they could see. And then I just started getting better finally. It was from 2022 to 2024. And I'm so glad it got better. Because I got better, I started getting better, and the first thing I wanted to do was get a job. I was like, my gosh, I'm tired of sitting around being a leech on everybody. But it's just, there was no way I was employable when I was like that. So I get that desire. I think it's such a human thing. It's also, in the West, it's a very masculine oriented. I think most of the world, it kind of has an inheritance of that idea that the men are expected to go out and work. And I imagine that's part of it culturally, but even not culturally, I think just in my heart of hearts, I feel I love feeling like I'm contributing something, that I'm a part of something, and I get compensation for that. I feel like I'm contributing, and I get I get something in return that shows the value of what I'm doing. So I've been working. I enjoy it. I'm glad to be working, and I'm learning some new skills and pushing myself, and that's great. I'd love to do this full time for work because that'd be fun, but I need to be doing something. I need to be giving something my all, and right now I've been able to walk into a pretty sustainable job, so I'm pretty happy there. I hope he finds something too.
こんな年で体力もないからな。いい仕事があるか不安だよ。
どんな仕事ならいいの？
事務の仕事がいいけど、この年じゃなかなか雇ってもらえないだろうな。
Well, what else are they gonna do? Put you on construction crews? No, a desk job is a pretty solid one.
私の友達に聞いてみるよ。みーちゃんはこの辺りの大地主のお嬢さんだから、ひょっとすると紹介してくれるかもしれないよ。
That's some good networking.
いいよいいよ。仕事くらい自分で探すよ。その程度にはしっかりしないとな。
Part of manning up, though, I would argue, part of manning up is being willing to ask for help. Like, I think it takes a lot of manly energy and bravery to recognize when you need an extra hand. Now, granted, maybe he starts on his own just to see what he's capable of. But when it comes to stuff like a job, especially if you weren't in his situation where you just need an income, like because you need it to survive or you need it because others need your help to survive, don't ever turn down an opportunity like that. I don't care if it feels like groveling. It's like, get the job, prove your value getting in that job, prove your worth when it matters. Don't feel like or get hung up on this idea that you have to prove your worth before even like it's like a possibility. I don't remember the last time we enjoyed breakfast like this. I don't even remember the last time we had breakfast together. For the first time in a long time, the morning light felt refreshing. I wanted to keep enjoying life like this. But unfortunately, I had to go to school. I told him I'd skip school that day and that I wanted him to take me somewhere fun, but he tried to be a good father and said that I had to go to school.
じゃあ、私、学校行くね。
ああ、行ってらっしゃい。
I also think it's odd, like again, I talked about, remember I mentioned before how I said a lot of times these types of crimes, like the Badger game, happen and a lot of people are embarrassed. It's interesting because I think that's what's happening too, because he hasn't seemingly reported it to the police at all that he was just assaulted last night and the circumstances around it. That works for Rena considering what she's done, but it's interesting how they haven't even talked about calling the police. Like it's not even coming up in the discussion. Again, because of what's happened in the background, that makes sense, but I think it's interesting that her dad hasn't mentioned it either. He followed me to the front door. I was a bit embarrassed for some reason. He talked to me while I was tying my shoes. He followed me here not because he wanted to see me off, but because he wanted to tell me something.
お父さんは母さんとの離婚の後、ずっと寂しかった。でもお父さんはレイナと一緒だから寂しくなんかないんだ。
Aww.
そうだ。最初から寂しがることなんか何もなかったんだ。
お父さん、それを家族って言うんじゃないかな。
That's true.
そうだな。そんなことを娘に教わるようじゃダメだな。
Brother, the older I get, I don't think any dads know how to be good dads. It's not that they aren't good dads. I just think all the dads are making things up as they go, and they don't have any fathom of an idea of how good of a dad they are until their kids are adults. Because I remember I had, I don't know, just, I was in like a particular kind of, had some realizations and awakenings of like my own role. And as I've gotten older, how more and more the things my dad did and said as I was growing up, that at the time I barely remembered and kind of just ignored or kind of moved forward from, have come back and been so helpful in my life when I've been an adult working and trying to like understand life. And I remember it was like Father's Day, I think a couple of years ago, where I called my dad and I actually told him that. I was just like, you know, Dad, I don't know if I've ever said this, but you have to understand that as time's gone on, especially in the last 10 years, I am constantly thinking about things that you've said or the way that you behaved when I was growing up as a kid. And how much it's actually changed the way I do things now. How many embarrassments I've been saved because of your example. Of how many, you know, even taking care of a home, you know, like when it came to like examining and working with like plumbing, fixing the water heater, fixing a dryer. By the way, I'll tell you, like, if you have a tumble dryer and your dryer breaks, I can almost guarantee you 90% of the time it is a 10-minute fix with a $5 part. It's so easy if you just take a second to learn it or realize how easy it can usually be to fix. He taught me about cars. He got me excited about science. He encouraged me to read. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I've told you this story, but he had such a brilliant dad moment, because I remember I was a kid when the first trailer for the first Lord of the Rings movie dropped. And I saw it, and I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I asked my dad, I think I was in like 4th grade at the time, I said, can I go see that movie? And his first response was the immediate parent response. He said, nope, it's got violence, it's got blood, it's too much for a kid. And I was like, okay. And I accepted it. And then he had this pause. I remember the pause, because he was in the kitchen like cooking something or doing something, and he suddenly stopped what he was doing, and he thought for a moment, and he turned and looked at me, and he said, tell you what, this movie is based off a book, a really good classic book. If you read the book that movie's based on, The Fellowship of the Ring, I'll take you to that movie. And I said, and my little like tiny like 11-year-old self said, bet. Basically, I didn't say that, but essentially I said it. He got me the book at the bookstore, and I sat down and I read as an 11-year-old The Fellowship of the Ring. Before that day, the biggest, most complicated book I think I'd read was like the Hardy Boys mystery novels, or oh gosh, what else was I reading at that time? Like the tiny little chapter books that are maybe 60 pages long, 100 pages long at most. Very basic, like uncomplicated plots, like stuff that was grade level at the time. That was basically all I'd read. But I was inspired. I sat down and I read. And I remember so much of it just went over my head. And there were entire passages of like song that I would just skip because I had no clue what it was saying. And there were these wild characters whose names I couldn't remember. And I just went through it all. And I remember the Barrow Wights and how terrifying that scene was. And also I remembered Rivendell and how that was one of the first times I genuinely wanted to live somewhere else that was like a fictional place. Oh, no. Second time. Redwall. That was the first time. Redwall, and the way they described food made me wish I could go live there. Lord of the Rings Rivendell was the first time I was like, I want to go live in that place because it sounds amazing. And like going through the Moria and like Gandalf's fall, and then like the Fellowship shattering at the end of the story. I was there for it. I didn't understand or comprehend it all, but I was there for it. Do you know how amazing it is to inspire a kid and to use something like that in order to help him understand just how good books are, so that when he did take me to that movie, I watched that movie and enjoyed it, but also walked out of that theater saying, you know what, the book was better. You know what, that's a cool lesson to teach a kid. That type of stuff changed my life. And I doubt he even thought about it. I bet you he forgot about it. And so then I brought it up to him in that call. I said, Dad, you need to understand. You rocked my world with that stuff. And I remember he burst into tears on the phone. And I think it's because I'd never told him how much that stuff had meant to me, or how much of it I was like reflectively using. And it was like, and so yeah, I think dads are they're just doing the best they can. Some of them suck. Some of them shouldn't be dads. But I bet 90% of them genuinely just want to know that they did okay. That they didn't screw up your life. And that maybe just a little bit of what they taught you growing up actually became helpful for you someday. So maybe that's a challenge I'll extend to you. If you've got a dad, and your dad's somebody who's like good at, like, is still in your life, somebody who hasn't become a toxic point that it's just not worth talking to them, because some families are like that. But if you have a dad or a mom, I think it's worth taking a little time pondering like what they've said to you in the past, how much it's helped you in your time now, and just tell them that. Because I bet you like Rena's dad. A lot of them probably feel like they just aren't a good father because they feel like they're surrounded by all these picture perfect dads in media and on social media and just like in their head. They idolize in their heads. I bet they've done a lot more good for you than they even know. So do that. Tell them.
じゃあケイチ君を待たせてるからもう行くね。
いってらっしゃい。ああ、そうだレイナ。今日はお父さんが夕食を作るぞ。食案に行くついでに買い物をしてくる。朝食みたいな失敗はしないから楽しみにしてるんだぞ。
Alright, let's see how you do it.
楽しみにしてるよ。行ってきます。
I left the house. My father saw me off, still in an apron. It was the first step of our new life. I finally regained it. I finally regained everything we lost after we left Hinamizawa. My mother wasn't around, but I didn't feel sad because I had my father. The cries of the cicadas sounded as if they were celebrating my new life. The sunshine was bright. The wind was sending up a nice breeze. The only thing that wasn't so nice, the ticking clock. It was late because I spent too much time talking with my father. That's a good problem to have. Keiichi-kun may already be gone. I don't think he'd be waiting for me too long. But he was there anyway.
よう、おはよ
おはよう。遅れてごめんね。
う。いいってことよ。普段は俺がレナを待たせてるんだからな。たまには俺を待たさせろ。
Aw, good sport.
ずいぶん遅くなっちゃったね。早足で行った方がいいかな。
そうだな。チャキチャキ行こうぜ。さもないと走る羽目になりそうだ。
みーちゃんさすがに先に行っちゃってるかな。
待ってるだろう絶対。
That's a very bold assessment to make.
俺たちは仲間だぜ。
Aw,
絶対に見捨てないし、勝手に行っちゃったりはしないよ。
we'd never leave each other behind.
それはそうと、今日は朝からいいことでもあったのか？
どうしてかな。
いやさ、今朝のレナは普段にも増して上機嫌そうだったからさ。
I mean, despite the fact she committed murder, she's pretty happy.
特別なことでもあったのかなって。
The good mood I was in must have been too obvious for Keiichi-kun to ignore. I had not only my family, but my friends too. I felt something warm spreading in my heart.
それがね、聞いて。朝食をお父さんが作ってくれたんだけどね。それがね。
なんだよ。目玉焼きはそれで正しいだろ。
Oh, Keiichi.
サラダオイルってのはサラダに使うもんなんだろ。
Oh, Keiichi.
みーちゃんたちに教えてあげようっと。
Isn't salad oil just olive oil? Which is a great cooking medium. She'd be like, you say what?
それは許しがたい暴言でございましてよ。
おう、上等だぜ。そこまで言うからには。
Oh, I thought they were talking about
直接対
cooking
決も
still.
辞さない覚悟だろうな。
おお盛り上がってるじゃない。なんなら今日の部活さ、さとことけいちゃんで外馬行こうか。
みーちゃん、外馬って何かな。
ああ、外馬ってのはよ。つまり、俺とさとこだけで賭けをするってことさ。
Oh, yeah. So like, you prearrange a bet and then, like, you know, throw the match and stuff.
部活の順位がそのまま勝敗になって、
Oh,
負けた方は俺たちだけのペナルティーを課す。
or in this case, extra punishments.
つまり、どっちが勝っても負けても、僕はとっても楽しいのです。
That's so creepy.
どうするさとこ。
素敵な勝負でございますことよ。部活にビリで罰ゲームな上に、さらに私に負けてダブルで罰ゲームなんて、こんな素敵なことがございまして。
That's bold of you to assume.
よーしさとこ、よく受けたね。よっしゃ、今日の部活は2人の外馬付きでやろう。
部活の種目より罰ゲームを何にするか考える方が楽しいのですよ。
Again, Rika, I wonder, I'm guessing you said these lines in the first chapter as well, but man, they're so much creepier now that I know that there's a lot more stuff going on underneath the surface.
確かに楽しいよな。さとこがどんな悲惨な目に遭うか、今から想像できちまうぜ。
それはケイチさんのことでございましてよ。ブニーやりましたわね。ブニュー。
ほらほら2人とも勝負はまだ始まってないって。
Is it fighting when all Keiichi has to do is put his hand on her head and just like hold her out at arm's length and just be like, you can't do anything? Chie sensei opened the door and came in.
皆さんお待たせしました。それでは帰りのホームルームを始めますよ。
Everybody headed to their seats.
みーちゃん、
何？
ケイチくんとさとこちゃんがとても盛り上がっているところで申し訳ないんだけど、ごめんね。ちょっと今日も用事があってすぐ帰らないといけないの。
Right, the bodies.
そうなの？もう用事じゃ仕方ないな。お家の仕事？
うん。
家事ってんじゃおじさんは口出しできないな。うちはお手伝いさんに全部任せっきりだからね。
たまにはみーちゃんも家事手伝いとかすればいいのに。きっと花嫁修行になるよ。
Oh my gosh.
ご安心を。万事その手のスキルに関してはつつがなく習得済みですので。
Why? Mii-chan looks like the kind of girl who tries to stay away from chores as much as possible, but she can actually do everything. That's just who she is. She went through hard times to learn those things, but she acts like she learned them without any struggle. That's also who she is. I like that about her.
帰っちゃうのかよ。
ケイチさんが恥ずかしい格好で職員室にお伺いしなくちゃならないところをご覧になりませんの？見物なのに残念なのです。うん、ごめんね。
昨日も家の用事だったじゃねえかよ。何かあったのか？
うん、ちょっとね、もう何日かかかるかもしれない。
じゃあ当分レナは部活に参加できないかな。
What's kind of crazy is that even telling like half truths, she has a pretty good excuse for this. Like obviously she can't tell them she's hiding the bodies, but she could tell them about how her dad had a girlfriend and how things went south and like the girlfriend's boyfriend showed up and caused a big mess and she's like cleaning the mess up.
かもしれない。なるべく早く復帰できるように頑張る。
その用事は俺たちには手伝えることか？例えば古い家具を運び出すとか、そういう力仕事なら言ってくれ。応援に行くぜ。
家の模様替えとかかい？おじさんたちみんなで手伝うよ。
That's very sweet of you.
レナさんの家のお手伝いで優劣起きそうのもありですわよね。多分お手伝いしない方が優勝なのです。
The person who doesn't end up helping her will be the winner.
みんなありがとう。気持ちだけもらっておくね。
じゃあ仕方ない。竜宮レナを本日付で我が部より戦線離脱とする。お家の仕事が片付くまで休暇とするので、英気回復の上再び戦線へ復帰することをここに命ずる。
Yes, ma'am.
まあ4人なら4人で遊べるゲームもあるしね。そうだそうだ、ケイちゃんは麻雀とかできる？
親父の仕事関係の人たちの卓に無理やり混ぜられることもある。
もちろん私たちは麻雀だって精通していましてよ。
After that, they fooled around and made a lot of noise, just like they always do. I looked at them and reminded myself that I'd always have a place to return to. I left the classroom with a smile. I was going to Yagauchi on my bicycle. I had to find a place to bury the bags with the body parts. Hopefully, I could finish buying all of them today before it gets dark. With that, everything would be over and done with.
パイの背中が竹だってのがなんだか怖いよな。まさかガンパイってことはないだろうな。
Oh, I'm sure they have.
さーて、どうでございましょうね。ケイイチさんには以前のジジ抜きの時に手痛い思い出がございますものね。
Hey, if I recall correctly, he managed to figure that out and work with it.
まあ多少は傷もあるだろうね。安物のパイだしさ。そのくらいの要素がないと我が部らしくないでしょ。ヒヒヒヒヒ。
ミー、赤は何枚混ぜるのですか？6つ？
Rika sounded professional and it scared me. Oh well. Should start by checking the tiles. Playing Mahjong with my family is different from playing it as a club activity. I had to be cautious. It's possible that one tile's missing or that there's one extra of a particular tile in here.
そんなことしないって。でも着想は面白いね。そういう手もあるか。なるほどなるほど。
よしよし、パイをみんな表にして並べてみよう。ほれほれほれ。
Everybody flip the tiles face up.
あれ、おい、誰かのとこにチュンが1個隠れて。
ピンズとソーズの6が1個ずつ足りないですわね。あら、マンズの6も1個足りませんでしたよ。
なんだなんだ、随分と足りないじゃないか。
ああ、そうだったそうだった。ちょいと待って。
Mion hit the palm of her hand with her fist and moved the chair aside, stuck her finger into the gap in the floorboards. See, she then pulled out a tile out of there.
はいよ、まずはチュンね。
How did you know they were there?
あとの3つはどこだったっけな。
You hid them?
おい待てみよ。どうして麻雀のパイが教室のあちこちに隠してあるんだよ。
にゃはははは。まあまあ。
Yeah, future proofing. She must have hidden the other 3 tiles somewhere in the classroom and forgot where. We couldn't play Mahjong with 3 tiles missing. I suggested playing another game, but Mion insisted that we had to find them and suggested making the treasure hunt our game.
まあ、確かに圭一さんと勝負をつけるなら種目は何でもいいわけでございますけど。
Yeah, how do you determine winners and losers in this?
もうちょっとまともな種目がいいですわね。
同感だな。それにこの教室に本当にあるかも怪しいんだろ。
多分あると思うんだよ。あるいはおじさんが懐にしまったまま帰っちゃって洗濯機の脇に置いてあるとか。
Well, fetch.
今度からミーと麻雀をやるときは終わった後にも牌の数を調べた方がいいと思いますです。
We also should probably check and make sure we have all our pocket change. Everybody except Mion nodded in agreement.
何よ、教室宝探し対決じゃ不満？
つうかミオンのイカ様の後始末だろ。お前の責任でやれ。部活を私的に使うな。
ブーブー。じゃあどうする？麻雀は無理だしね。他のにする？である人。
As our club president, Mion usually decides what we'll play. I couldn't just come up with something on the spot. While we were all thinking, Mion hit her palm on her fist just like she did earlier.
じゃあさみんな。
How much you want to bet? It's like, go spy on Rena.
パイの宝探しが嫌ならさ、もうちょっとでっかく宝探しをしようじゃない？
Oh no, they're gonna go to the jump pile.
宝探しといえばレナのお家芸。
ってことはダム現場のゴミ山か。
Oh no. Oh no. Oh, the threads. I see the threads and where they're leading. Oh crap. Because here's the problem, right? These are Rena's friends. But they go to the junk pile and they see her doing stuff. And they think they know and they confront her about it. Cutting back to where we started this journey, right? Where Rena describes to them how she's done her best. But how is Rena going to respond when her friends are finding out what she's done? Because what's going to happen if they tell people what she's done? The joy she's found at home is in danger. And if someone's threatening her home, that turns them into a bad person. And if her friends become bad people, what's she going to do to keep her family life safe? And where were they when they start talking to her about this? In the secret spot by the car, where people cannot hear you scream. Oh no. Oh, good. Holy crap. If this cascades the way I think it's about to cascade, this is going to be the most horrifying chapter of all of them.
あそこってあまり行ったことないんですけど、結構広いですわよね。
Oh, please don't go.
あそこはバラバラ殺人の幽霊が出るから近寄らない方がいいらしいのですよ。
This music is not helping.
幽霊上等じゃないの。そのくらいの演出つかないと宝の山としてはインパクト弱いよね。
へえ、そんな噂あるのかよ。確かバラバラ殺人があって主犯が未だ逃走中。そいつの隠した腕一本が未だ見つからないとか言うんだろ。
その腕を探してバラバラにされた監督さんが幽霊になってさまよっているという噂があるのです。あらあらリカ、幽霊が嫌いなんですの？いいお年にもなって恥ずかしいですわね。僕は巫女ですから見たくなくても見えてしまうのですよ。
That's terrifying. I can see them even if I don't want to. Is that the little boy then? Like the voice I heard. Could that be just Oyashiro-sama possibly?
うわ、なんだよそれ。確かに見える人には当たり前のように幽霊が見えるって話聞いたことあるな。
バカバカしいですわね。リカと一緒にずっと住んでますけど、そんなの一度も見たことありませんでしたよ。さとこに見えてないだけなのですよ。
That's so scary.
さとこがお布団で寝てるときはいつも
Oh my gosh, do not say Satoshi.
ニパーリカ、そこで笑ってはぐらかさないでくださいませ。私が寝てるときは何なんですの？
Satoko, I feel sorry for you. You can pretend you're not scared of ghosts during the day, but I'm pretty sure you get scared when it gets dark. I'm gonna have to make a silent phone call tonight just to scare the hell out of her. Hehehe.
まあ私も含めてなんだけど、ダム戦争の後に好き好んであそこに出入りする人はいないんじゃないかね。レナくらいだよ、楽しそうにあそこで遊んでるのは。
レナのカーイモードの前に幽霊が出た日には彼岸の向こうからでもお持ち帰りされかねんな。
確かにありそうですわね。はう、お持ち帰り。
Oh, that's kind of cute, actually. That was so easy to imagine us all laughing. That all of us laughed.
じゃあ決まり、今日はゴミ山探検にしよう。幽霊を見つけられたら優勝。
God, I like that. Like, so it got the creepy music and then the Higurashi kicking in.
辞典は隠された右腕。その次はじゃあレナが気に入りそうな何かだね。
Well, that's arbitrary. Or maybe the idea is that you all take it to Rena and see what she reacts to.
レナに見せて白黒をつけてもらうってことでどうよ。
That's actually a cute game. It's like, if it weren't for the circumstances, it'd be an adorable game.
私は優勝でケイチさんはビリでダブル罰ゲームが楽しみですわね。
おいおい、サトコいいのかよ。優勝ってことは幽霊。
ちょっとやめてくださいませ。暑苦しいですわ。僕もお化けが怖いので行きたくないのです。もっとは何ですの？
Two.
もっとは私は全然怖くなんかありませんわよ。ケイチさん、お話遊ばせ。
では行くよ諸君、出撃準備。
Oh, it's so loud. Oh no. It'll all be over with. Everything will be over and done with. Yes, it will be over and done with when the Higurashi cry. Oh, that's like the first time the name drops actually happened, right? When the Higurashi cry. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh my gosh, this is gonna get so bad, isn't it? Don't tell me, but it's gonna get so bad. Fetch me. It's getting late. I probably should get off. Oh.
これで全部かな。
So that's it? Yeah, I was right. This is the beginning. Okay, I can't leave now. Never mind. Rena finished making her confession. There was no applause or curtain call. It was a quiet and lonely stage that Rena performed on alone. I think I'd forgotten to blink since her confession started. Everybody else seemed to be feeling the same way. This is all before Watanagashi, too. Rena looked at us, like she was a teacher waiting for her questions from her students. We noticed that she was imitating what Chise sensei does at the end of class, and we were all smiled bitterly.
さっきまでね、袋を埋める場所を探しに。
Oh, Rena, please don't.
絶対見つからない場所に隠そうと思うと、なかなかいい場所が見つからないの。自分の家の庭に埋める方がむしろ安心じゃないかななんて。でもそれじゃあやっぱり危ないよね。お父さんが突然家庭菜園をやりたいなんて言い出すかもしれないもん。やっぱり遠くの山奥がいい。あの女をたとえ死んだ後でもお父さんに近づけたくなかったし。
Oh, such a big stuff to just swallow, Rena. I felt like I did something very bad. Rena's plan was going smoothly. If I'd only hunted the mahjong tiles instead of insisting on doing something else, this wouldn't have happened. When I look at the others, they all seem to be regretting their actions too. If Mion hadn't come up with the idea to play at the garbage dump, if Satoko hadn't found the broken refrigerator, if Rika-chan hadn't convinced us not to go, had convinced us not to go. So, Satoko found the bags. Great. Rena could have had a few more days, and she could have got rid of the trash bags and never would have been found. Then what would have happened next? Nothing. Everything would have remained the same. We could have kept having happy, peaceful days. Rena had been through a hard time, but she'd been forcing her face into a smile for us. The fake smile was supposed to become a real smile one day. None of us were supposed to notice that Rena was going through a hard time. After a while, Rena was supposed to be able to forget the bitter memory of killing these two, and she was supposed to live as if nothing had happened. Also, is Satoko gonna point out that it's her uncle? Like, that's crazy. But now all of her efforts, all her courage, had been ruined.
人殺しはいけないことだってことは、私だって知ってるよ。したくなんかなかったし、これからだってしたくないと思ってる。でもね、これが最善の努力だったって信じてるし、私は悪いことをしたなんて、これっぽっちも思ってない。
Can't say I 100% disagree, but, sets a bad
私は
precedent.
幸せで平穏な生活を取り戻すために、神様から与えられた等しいチャンスの中で最大限に努力しただけ。製品であれば不幸せでもいいなんてのは、満たされた人間の綺麗事だよ。その精一杯は、世界中の誰にだってけなせない。むしろ、私を褒めてほしいくらい。
That's it's not really a great way to be going.
称えてほしいくらい。竜宮レナは自らの運命と戦った。そして打ち勝った。
I don't know what I did, but I interrupted her. I shouldn't have. But I thought I needed to tell her this, so I did.
でもレナ、どうして俺たちに相談してくれなかったんだよ。
相談？
そうだよ。俺たちは仲間だろ。仲間ってのは何があっても無条件で味方になってくれる家族同然の存在じゃないのかよ。俺たちに相談してくれれば何かの力になれたかもしれない。
Keiichi, are you sure you would have helped with this? And also, can you speak for everybody?
そうすればレナは自分の手を汚さずに済んだかもしれない。
What Rena told us made me sad. Oh, he's saying maybe help her with, like, the girlfriend in the Badger game, not the murder. Couldn't help myself from saying that to her. Rena told us straight that she did her best she could. She told us right to our faces. That's the same thing as saying that she didn't need us in order to do the best she could.
ケイちゃん、今はそんなこと言っても。
いや、頼む。喜びだって苦しみだって分け合うのが俺は仲間だって思ってる。だからレナが相談してくれたらきっと今よりもより良い未来へたどり着けていたと信じてる。
今よりより良い未来？そんなのないよ。これが最善の未来だよ。
Oh gosh.
嘘だな。
My shout seemed to scare her a little. Yeah, throw her classic line back at her. I knew that Rena didn't believe that this was the best possible future. She just didn't have any other choice. If she'd had other choices, she definitely wouldn't have chosen this one.
だってその証拠にレナはさっきから泣いてるじゃないか。
はあ？誰が？私が？いつ涙を流したの？
今だよ。ずっと流してるじゃないか。自分で分かってないのか？
In fact, I didn't see any tears in her eyes or face at all. But that didn't mean she wasn't crying. Rena was crying. She was crying because she was driven into a corner after all her hard work she did to be happy. Her tears looked sad, so sad. Bro, remember I was talking about Psychopath. I don't think she genuinely feels that bad for what she did. I think she actually is telling you the truth here. Anyone who couldn't see those tears wasn't really thinking about her. No, you're projecting, dude. I think you actually are projecting here. You would probably feel sad, and you're assuming she feels sad.
私は泣かないよ。誰が泣くものか。私は正しいことをした。最善の選択をした。それでどうして泣かなくちゃならないの？ケイチのバカバカ。何を言ってるか全然わかんないや。
I'm really starting to think I was right.
それが泣いてるって言ってんだよ。
Rena stopped laughing all of a sudden. She spoke with a cold expression on her face.
じゃあいいよ。ケイチ君の言った通りにしたとしてみよう。私がみんなにお父さんとあの女のことを打ち明けた。さあ、どうしてくれるの？
まずは、
Bro. Whatever.
まずは何？
Rena had never talked to me like this before. It was as if she was mocking my ignorance, and that made me shut my mouth.
ケイチ君は去年を知らないんだよ。
去年？
そう、去年。昭和57年6月。私と同じように、人を殺めることでしか抜けられない。
Oh gosh.
不幸の迷宮に閉じ込められた人のお話を。
We're just talking about this with Satoko here? Satoko gasped.
ケイチ君は、あまり知らないよね。北条聡君のことは。
I know that he's Satoko's older brother. He'd been missing, but people say he transferred. There's a rumor he killed his aunt for Satoko's sake. Therefore, it's been taboo to talk about Satoshi in my class, actually, in all of Hinamizawa.
サトシ君もね、私と同じだった。ただ幸せで、平穏な日々が欲しかっただけ。妹と静かに暮らせる生活が欲しかっただけ。ケイチ君も、去年殺されたサトコちゃんのおばさんが、どういう人だったかは、噂聞いてるよね。
If what I heard was true, then this is what happened. After Satoko lost her parents, her uncle and aunt got custody of her and her brother, but they were miserable people. Her aunt was especially cruel to Satoko. Satoshi was the kind of guy who wouldn't even hurt a fly. But his aunt probably was the one whom he didn't have a problem killing. That's how terrible a person she was.
北条家のトラブルはね、南沢では誰もが知っていたんだよ。おばさんがヒステリックで、頭のネジのどうかしてることも、サトシ君とサトコちゃんを意味も全部ね。もちろん、クラスの誰もが知っていた。御三家の当主跡継ぎであるみーちゃんとリカちゃんだって、もちろん知ってたし、サトコちゃんに至っては当事者だもんね。ケイイチ君の言う仲間たちは、hinamizawa沢の誰よりもよく、サトシ君の辛さを分かっていたはずなんだよ。
She's actually got a great argument here. Holy crap.
それで結果はどうだった？誰かがサトシ君を助けてくれた？誰も助けなかった。みーちゃんは一番力があるくせに、村のしがらみがどうとか、よくわからない理由で煙に巻いて、結局、無責任な同情の言葉をかけて、傷つけるだけだった。
そんなことはないよ。
嘘だ！
Oh, here we go.
サトシ君は分かってたよ。みーちゃんが口ぶりだけは同情してるふりをしながらも全然助ける気がないことを分かってた。だからサトシ君はね、途中からみーちゃんのことを嫌うようになったんだよ。普段は仲間だとか友達だとか言っておきながら、結局は北条家をいじめる園崎家の一味でしかなかったってね。
Oh, just right to the core.
私は別に。
何も救わずに放置した。サトシ君の助けてほしい思いを同情という言葉で拒絶したんだ。それがどれほどサトシ君を傷つけたか分かってる？
Mion tried to find something to say, but failed to do so. She bit her lip instead.
それはリカちゃんも同じだよね。
Now Ren was pointing fingers at Rika-chan. Unlike Mion, Rika-chan looked emotionless and empty, just like Rena did.
リカちゃんは確かにみーちゃんに比べたらその発言力は微々たるものかもしれない。でも神社に出入りしてるお年寄りたちにとても大きな発言力を持っていたはずだよ。リカちゃんにもできる努力があったのにしなかった。
Is she gonna say the classic lines like, it had already been decided?
リカちゃんも結局はみーちゃんと同じ哀れみの表情を浮かべて小娘を装っただけだった。するのはサトシくんやサトコちゃんを慰めるだけ。その根本原因に対して何の手も差し伸べようとしなかった。そんな無慈悲な哀れみがどれほど残酷だったか想像できる。
You know, to be fair, Rena's also kind of being the voice of us, isn't she? She's kind of saying everything that we've been thinking of through all these other chapters, huh?
サトシくんが欲しかったのは救いだった。誰かに助けて欲しかった。自分の力だけではどうしても抜け出せない苦境だったから。首まで沈もうとする沼の中で精一杯手を伸ばして誰かに掴んでもらうことを期待していたんだよ。
そうね。
Oh. Rika-chan's voice sounded mature. It was very different from how she usually sounded.
サトシたちを救う方法がわからなかったから慰めることしかしなかった。
This is one of the first times we've seen creepy Rika talking to the core group.
それにかまけ救う何かを探し続けなかった罪は否定しないわ。
分かってるじゃない。
Miranda gave her a twisted smile. That ugliness caused me to look away.
そしてサトコちゃん、あなたに信じられるかわからないけれど、あなたの罪はとても重い。
I didn't understand why she was blaming Satoko. I tried to take her side, but I gaped in surprise when I looked at her. She looked like she was accepting the sin that Rena had mentioned. Fetch me. No, don't do that to Satoko. Satoko must have wanted to confess her sin before Rena pointed it out to her. And so Satoko opened her mouth first.
信じてくださるかどうかはわかりませんけど、ちゃんと気づいてますのよ、その罪。
そうなんだ。
ニーニーがいなくなってしまったあの夜に気づきましたのよ。それをどうしてニーニーがいるうちに気づけなかったのか。
わかるよ、その気持ち。後悔した時にはもう遅いというのは私も同じだったから。だから私は同じことがもう一度起こったから今度は戦った。さとこちゃんのその罪はきっと将来あがなえるよ。その罪に気づけたならきっとね。
それでももうニーニーは帰ってきませんのね。
Dang. Satoko looked down sadly. Usually Satoko would be the opposite. She always said that Satoshi was coming back one day without a doubt. But now she accepted the fact that he would never return. She accepted it easily, as if she knew it already, because he's her brother.
ね?
Fetch me. She asked me all of a sudden.
これが私と同じ苦境にいた昭和57年のみんな。サトシ君は自分を助けてくれそうな人たちにはみんなに全てを話したよ。助けてほしいと言ったし、辛いとも言った。打ち明けた。相談した。転校してきたばかりの私にまでね。それはみっともないことじゃない。本当に不幸な人はね、必死なんだよ。サトシ君は自分でも懸命に頑張ってた。それでもどうにもならないからみんなに助けを求めた。ずっと求めてた。でもね、これがケイイチ君の言う無条件で味方になってくれる仲間たちの体たらくなんだよ。
Holy crap. Oh, God, it's so bad because it's so probably true, like real life. Like you want to believe that you'll be there for your friends and that they'll be there for you. But there's probably thresholds where that just won't happen, and it's not their fault. It's because we're all people, and it's not like we can just pick up every burden that's tossed at our feet. But at the same time, God, that hurts to think about, doesn't it?
仲間なんて楽しくてどうでもいい時間を一緒に寄り合って過ごすだけのお友達。本当に辛い時に味方になってなんてくれないんだよ。昔からそうだったよ。引っ越し先でもそうだったからね。だから私、自分がサトシ君と同じ状況になったと知った時、私は仲間に打ち明けるのなんかやめようってね。だってどうせ誰も助けてくれないし助けられないもの。
The nobody could part is, I think, the more important part. That, like, there really isn't anything her friends could have done.
なら、同情なんて気がめいるだけなんだよ。せめて学校にいる間くらい楽しく過ごした方が気が紛れていいかもしれないもの。実際、みんなと楽しく過ごす学校の時間は楽しかったよ。とっても幸せだった。あの女たちとのトラブルをわずかの時間でも忘れることができて、本当に良かった。サトシ君もそれに気づけていたら良かったね。そうだったなら、学校での時間くらいは楽しく過ごせて、あそこまで心を追い詰めずに済んだかもしれない。
And that's actually, though, that's not even quite right, though, because that's what they tried with Satoko, and that didn't work either.
どうせ、自らの手でおばを殴り殺す以外に解決方法はなかったのだし。転校してきたばかりで、村のこともほとんど覚えていない私には、できるのは、話を聞いてあげて、少しでも心を軽くしてあげるだけ。
His music's getting loud.
でも、それ以上に助けることができたのかもしれないし、私も、その努力を怠っていたかもしれない。それなのに、昭和57年の私は、サトシ君と仲間のつもりだったんだよね。
It's also kind of refreshing to see them finally, like, having an open conversation about all this stuff, really. It's really interesting. I don't like that. Aww. You said you weren't gonna cry, but Keiichi kind of was right, wasn't he? Well, fetch. Now what do we do? Rena's self-derisive laughter changed into grievous sobs. Her tears gradually wore away at our relationship of trust. Nobody will help me. Friendship are just people you have fun with. You can't trust them. The more Rena cried, the clearer we heard her voice in her heart. Neon, Satoko, and Rika-chan looked in the distance with sad expressions on their faces. I was the only one who could say anything back to her now. I had to tell her this, and she knew it too. She just needed to hear it from someone. I braced myself to tell her something that might hurt everybody.
よくわかったぜ、レナ。昭和57年のことはよくわかった。こいつらが白状だったってこともわかったさ。でもよ、サトコだって言ったろ。こいつらはみんな自分の罪に気がついた。後悔した。だから今度は違うはずだ。今度は仲間の苦しみを真に理解して助けてくれるはず。
去年いなかった人に言われても信憑性ないね。
ああ、そうだ。俺は去年いなかった。だから残念だぜ。去年の俺がもしここにいたならば、サトシのために絶対に戦った。
Oh, well, it's easy to say, bud.
そうだ。
嘘じゃねえ。俺はひなみざわに来てからどれだけ仲間がかけがえのないものかを知った。だからそんな仲間たちを救うためなら俺はどこまでも戦うぜ。
It's scary, Rena.
サトコやサトシをいじめるおばがそんなにもうぜえやつなら、サトシになんかもったいねえ。この俺が叩き殺してやった。
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's funny because it's like it's all platitudes here, but then we kind of know he's not lying, really.
ものの1500秒でだ。躊躇なんかしねえぞ。速攻だ。
He even said the 1500 seconds.
学校の倉庫あたりから金属バットの一本もちょろまかして即ぶっ殺してた。
Is this like a time leaping Keiichi who's seen his own like other paths?
口先だけならどうとでも言えるね。人を殺すのにどれだけの思い切りがいるかも知らないくせに。
知らねえし知る必要もねえな。仲間を救う以上の義務がどこにあるってんだ。
ケイチ君は全然分かってない。人を殺すことがどれだけ汚らわしい行為で、どれだけ自らを美化しようとも決して振り払えない汚れであることを分かってない。
そうだな。確かに仲間を救うためでも直ちに人殺しってのは短絡的すぎるよな。レナの言い分に相反するようで悪いけど、悪いことに悪いことで立ち向かうってのは多分うまくいかないようにできていると思うんだ。
Yeah, there's some logic, but also naivety there, that's for sure.
仲間のためなら人殺しだって厭わないその精神だけは立派だと思う。 だけどな、悪いことで得た平穏ってのは絶対に長く続いたりしないんだ。それを人は本能的に知ってるから、悪いことを嫌うんじゃないかと思うんだ。
何それ、ケイチ君が何を口走ってるのか。
Me too.
よくわかんないよ。
I feel like he's saying like opposite things half the time. She didn't have to tell me that, and I was aware I wasn't making any sense. But for some reason, I could easily imagine a world like that. A world in which I saved my precious friends by committing an evil act. The peace I seized by doing that evil deed didn't last long. It got worse and ended in a way as terrible as the sin I committed. Yeah, he's like literally tapping into like alternate reality memory here. This was a memory that shouldn't exist. I don't know why, but I know for a fact it happened. In a world of possibility.
すまん。俺も自分で何を言ってるのか意味がわからなくなった。
For some weird reason, I couldn't prevent myself from smiling in embarrassment even in a situation like this.
でも、レナは分かってるはずだ。だから、自らの手を汚すほかなかった運命を、助けて欲しかった俺たちを嘆いてるんじゃないか。レナは殺人者になんかなりたくなかったんだ。これが最善の選択だったなんて、絶対嘘なんだ。
That's the thing though, bro. I'm not sure she was.
だからさっきから、ずっと泣き続けているんじゃないか。
そうだ嘘だ嘘だ嘘だそんなのは嘘だ。
嘘かどうかは、お前が一番知ってるんじゃねえか。最初から後悔してるんだろ。たとえ誰にも知られることなく死体を隠せたとしたって、一生両手についた血は落とせないんだ。
You did say that.
そんな十字架を背負って生きていく苦痛をどうやってごまかす。一つしかない。これしか方法がなかったと思い込むことだけじゃないか。それはつまり、仲間に相談する価値がないって思うこと。仲間を一生否定し続けるってことだぞ。レナにとって、俺たちはその程度の存在だったのか。違うだろ。本当に助け合える関係なのが仲間だってことを。確かに、去年の仲間たちはまだ未熟だった。だからサトシを不幸な運命から救えなかった。でも人は成長するんだ。ミスは二度と犯さないし、後悔は二度と繰り返さない。だから、信じろ。俺たちは仲間だ。
I mean, it's a roaring speech, but I have a feeling it's gonna backslide real quick.
お前の一番の味方なんだ。
つまりそれは私も未熟だったってこと？
そうだ。仲間たちが日々成長していることを信じられなかったレナも未熟だ。だがそれを責める気はないぜ。俺たちだってレナが一人悩むのを今日まで気づけなかった。人は語り合うことでしか胸の内を明かせない。だから今日のこの場までは仕方がなかったことかもしれない。そういう意味では言いたくはないが、今日という日がレナにとって最善の選択の向こうにあったことを認めざるを得ないかもしれない。
Interesting.
でも俺たちは今この場になってレナが去年からずっと持っていた不信感も俺たちが持っていた後悔も全部吐き出し合った。だから俺たちは今こそようやく本当の意味での仲間になれたんだよ。
本当に今更だね。いつも罪は手遅れになってから気づかされる。
そうでもねえさ。例えば俺は仲間であるレナの今回のこの出来事を
This time.
理解できる。
This time.
理解できるって。
人の命を奪うのは許されることじゃないっていう道徳的なことはもちろん理解している。でもそれを理解した上で仲間であるレナがこうするほかなかったことを理解する。だから俺はレナを汚らわしいと思わないし恐ろしいとも思わない。
You probably should be scared of her. I'm scared of her.
次に同じようなことがあったら今度はこういう結果にならないように悩み合おう。
I thought you were talking about like it will happen again.
だけどすでに起こってしまったこの出来事を俺は理解する。理解ってのはつまり許すということだ。俺はレナのこの行為を否定したりしない。
I said that to everyone this time. I said that to all my friends.
俺はレナのやったこの出来事を受け、これしかどうしようもなくて悩み抜いた上で至った最後の最後の手段だったってことを。だから俺はレナに協力しようと思う。
ケイちゃん。
もちろん殺した理由が 金目当てだとかそんなくだらねえのだったら 警
maybe
察へ叩き出してやってるぜ。
maybe they won't be classified bad people.
だけどな、レナはそんな気持ちでやったんじゃない。どうしても逃げられなくて悩み抜いた末に至った今日なんだ。レナの罪はそこに至るまでに俺たちに相談しなかったことを。だけどそれを俺は許す。だから今日に至ったその行為も俺は許す。
圭一、
だからみんなもレナも今日に至るまでそれに気づけずレナを一人で悩ませた俺を許してくれ。それが今日を招いた俺の罪だ。
圭一さん、
このヤバい袋の山を知ったのは俺たちだけだ。俺たち全員が秘密にすればそれでおしまいだ。
Dang, what you're saying, bro, is crazy.
レナは何も気にすることはない。最初の予定通りにこの袋をどこかに隠しまおうぜ。
Oh my gosh, like we'd all be implicated.
そして全員で塩でお清めでもして一丁上がりだ。そしたら俺たちは全ての罪を許し合おう。そして取り戻そうぜ。本当に平穏な日々を。これだろ。レナが本当に選びたかった未来ってやつはこっちなんだろ。最善の選択肢は。
圭一くん。
Oh boy. I jumped on the hood of the abandoned car Rena was standing on and reached for her hands.
認めろ。
Oh, I'm scared. There better not be a hatchet there.
こっちが本当にレナが来たかった世界なんだよ。レナが本当に選びたかった選択肢なんだよ。確かにこの選択肢はレナ一人だけじゃ選べない。レナと俺たちが互いに手を差し伸べ合ってしか選べないんだ。つまり俺だけが差し伸べても意味がないんだよ。俺だけじゃない、みんなが差し伸べる。だからレナ、お前も手を伸ばせ。それで互いに手を掴み合って初めてお前は本当に選びたかった選択肢の向こうの世界に行けるんだよ。
圭一くんの言葉は本当なら嬉しいよ。でも
But
みんなもそうだとは限らないよ。
a little hand touched mine. It was Rika-chan.
リカちゃん。
レナは決して、あなたは決して屈しなかった。そしてこんなにも泥だらけになりながら、そんなあなたをどうし
Aww.
て私は認めずにいられるのか。
And I think this is creepy mature Rika, so that's actually very interesting. Rika-chan's small hand was strong. She spoke eloquently.
私は逃れられない不幸の迷宮に飲まれ、すべてに失望する堕落の心地よさを知っている。だからこそたった一人で屈することなく戦い続け、そんなあなたが身近にいることを、私も圭一と同じあなたの罪を許す。だからあなたも私の罪を許してほしい。
リカちゃん。
私は無力な小娘だけれど、きっと戦えた。自分も運命に屈しないレナのように戦う。
Aw, I'll fight like you did. She won't give up and just accept her death.
だから私をあなたの仲間として許してもらいたい。
Rika-chan usually acts childish, but now she's like a totally different person. She meant every word she was saying. And then another little hand reached out to ours.
さとこ、
Satoko put her hand over mine and Rika-chan. She didn't say anything, looking down for a while. Rika-chan urged her to speak.
私もリカも両親を失って一人ぼっちですけれど、今日までそれを嘆いたことはありませんでしたよ。皆さんという仲間という家族がいたから。私はこれからも皆さんとレナさんと仲間という名の家族でありたいと思っていますのよ。
This is going very differently than how I thought it would.
家族同士だからこそ時には全てを打ち明け合うのは当然ですわ。だから今日はいいきっかけになったと思ってますの。互いの罪を許し合う機会が恵まれたことに感謝いたしましたよ。
仲間という名の家族か。さとこにしちゃいい例えだな。
レナさんの罪を許しますわ。どうか私の罪も許してくださいませ。
A big hand reached out for ours. It was Mion's.
仲間の大切さを語るのは部長である私の役目だと思ってただけに、いやはや私も部長失格かななんて。
ミオ。
ごめん、ふざけたね。
Mion still smiled and scratched her head.
レナの境遇を察しなかったことを仲間として部長として恥じるよ。許してほしい。もちろんレナが私たちに相談しなかったことも許すよ。それは私が打ち明けるに足る存在じゃなかったってことだからね。私はリーダーであらねばと日々努力しているはずなのに全然至ってなかった。その未熟さはだからレナの罪を許す。
レナ、俺たちは全員手を重ねて差し伸べたぞ。
Chainsaw!
こっちは全部揃った。あとはお前だけなんだ。手を伸ばせ、こっちへ来い。お前が本当に来たかった世界はこっちなんだ。もう手は全員が差し伸べてる。だからためらうな。
レナは人殺しだよ。きっとみんなに迷惑をかけるよ。
レナ、私たちは。
リカちゃん、もう余計なことは言わなくていい。俺たちは全員で手を重ねて差し伸べている。この事実にこれ以上上塗りする言葉は、だからレナにだって言葉はいらないんだ。ただ黙ってこっちへ手を伸ばせばいいんだ。来いレナ、夢とか幻とかじゃない。ましてや手遅れでも何でもない。レナにはまだ選べる選択肢が残ってるんだ。だから選べ。間に合う。来るんだ。俺たちはやり直せるんだ。
Rena slowly reached out, and her hand touched ours. She didn't hold our hands. All she needed to do was touch our hands to show us her will. Rena chose to live and share her life with her friends rather than refuse them for the rest of her life. I took a step closer to her and firmly grabbed her wrist. It was getting dark and some stars had appeared in the sky. We all forgave each other for our sins for the first time. And it was a little embarrassing, but Rena's tears made us all cry and we just kept crying together. We stood in a circle, holding each other by the shoulder and putting our heads together in the middle. We are a family made of friends, and we forgave each other, and we were happy together. There's a memory in the back of my mind, but it's not supposed to exist. I tried to save one of my friends in that world. In order to do that, I rejected all my other friends. I acted recklessly alone, and I brought about the end of the world. That was chapter 3. The situation we had here is the same as the incident in that faraway world in the sense that people we had been deprived of our lives in order to save one friend of mine. But other than that, it was different. We had Rena, Mion, Satsuko, Rika-chan, and myself. Nobody was missing. We were going to regain them. We were going to regain those happy and peaceful days. The road going there might be a little rough, but we'll walk it together. We all will. Okay. Not quite what I expected. But now we have Watanagashi to deal with. What on earth is that going to do? I have a feeling the murders are going to happen and it's going to start turning us against each other because we're going to start wondering if one of us is the murderer. We went to the place in the mountains of Yaogunchi that Ren had picked out for burying the bags. Carrying corpses is a scary thing to do, but it made us all unite more strongly because of that. Since each part of the corpse is in a separate plastic trash bag, we can tell what's inside of each bag by touching it. First, we forced ourselves to laugh whenever we had to touch the bodies because we were scared, but after a while, we got used to it to the point where we could just make jokes about it. That's not horrifying at all! Of course, all that was probably a bluff, but we were all tried our best. Mion somehow had detailed knowledge of how to hide corpses, and she told me to dig the hole deeper. Rika-chan helped us carry the bags. Satoko used her talent of setting traps to perfectly camouflage the place where we buried the bags. Me? I was in charge of digging the hole. Of course he was. Rena dug it earlier, but I made it a little deeper. After we finished all that, we walked back to the place where we parked our bicycles, and we all looked back at the place where we'd buried the bags. It was completely unnoticeable. We'd never be able to find the place again once we left for home. That's how perfect it looked.
Yossha! Minna o tsukare-san!
Fetch me. If they try to declare a winner here, I'm going to die.
これでおしまいだね。帰ろう帰ろう。
Mion said it cheerfully, as we just finished club activities or something. We had no more bags to carry, we were no longer any burden to carry either. We got on our bicycle, but Rena was still standing there, looking into the distance.
おいレナ。
あ、ごめん。ちょっと熱が出ちゃったみたいで、なんかぼーっとする。
Rena's face looked slightly red. Mion touched Rena's forehead. It actually was a little warm. She had a tough day today. She'd had to go through so many things. She had to find a place to hide the corpses. She had to dig a hole. We caught her with her bags. We talked about our feelings. And we forgave each other. She must be exhausted after a day like that.
レナ、今日は帰ったらゆっくり休め。
うん、ありがとう。そうするね。
レナ、私たちはもう全部許し合ったんだよ。だから、自分を責めちゃダメだからね。
Mm-hmm.
やっぱり、みんなの言う通りだったよ。
何がだ？
やっぱり私、どう自分の行為を美化したって、私は心の中で恐ろしいことをしたと怯えていた。
Holy crap.
みんなに助けてもらって、ここまで来てこんななんだもん。もしみんなと会わずに、一人で全てを片付けていたら、私は耐えきれず、潰されてしまったかもしれない。
She said all this with a bitter smile. It might take her a long time to heal from the pain, but it must be 100 times shorter than the time it would have taken if she did it all alone. Rena's home was the closest from here. Rena went her way and the four of us were left behind. Mion made a suggestion.
明日からなんだけどさ、みんな揃って今日のことを忘れるのがいいと思うんだけど。
Never talk about it again.
どう思う？
そうですわね。それが一番レナさんにとって優しいことになると思いますわ。レナは強い人です。僕たちがそう振る舞えば、レナもそう振る舞ってくれますですよ。
It's the cover-up that they used for him when he killed the uncle too.
振る舞いもずっと続けてれば本当になるって言うもんな。
語らないことで、そのうち私たちは忘れていくよ。そして、完全に忘れきった時が、私たちの
おそらく、その日は一生かけて来るか来ないかを探ることになると思いますです。
Of course, you know that that's only for a couple weeks, right?
そうかもしれませんわね。簡単に忘れられることではありませんでしたよ。
仮に生涯忘れられなくてもいい。大切なのは最後まで全員の胸にしまって秘めておくことなんじゃ。
思い出させない方が大事だからね。
I'm too into it. I keep clicking fast. We nodded in agreement just as my house came into view.
じゃあな、みんな。明日また学校でいつもの通りに。
いつもの通りに。いつも通りにトラップに引っかかり遊ばせですわね。
I heard that.
じゃあね、ケイちゃん。
Dang. Wild. Oh my gosh, it's still going. Okay, I have to stop here. I have to stop. I'm sure it's almost at the end, but I gotta stop. I'm just like, ugh. This recording's gone so long, so I'm exhausted. I need to get to sleep too. So thank you all so much for being here. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Holy crap. I genuinely thought Rena was just going to go on a murder spree at the end of that. So I'm very surprised by this ending, but I'm interested now to see how this, because now I'm thinking that we're going to go to Watanagashi, and what's going to happen is that the murders that happen there is going to shatter this piece, because people are going to wonder, did Rena do something again? Like, it's going to sow doubt, and into, maybe that'll turn it into the battle royale of blood that I'm thinking it's going to become. I hope not, but we'll have to see. This is Higurashi after all. Anyway. Thank you all so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel. I appreciate your support. I'm trying to answer your comments. Hopefully, I'm looking forward to reading the ones from this episode. And I do appreciate the no spoilers, but man, that was something else, wasn't it? Anyway, thank you all for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Good start to your week. But until the next video you're watching me up to see me in next. I'll see you there.